Have you ever wondered what the most remote, inhabited place on Earth is? No, it's not some cabin in the Siberian wilderness or a tiny village in the Himalayas. It's an island, a volcanic island to be exact. Smack dab in the middle of the South Atlantic Ocean. Welcome to Tristan da Cunha. This place is so isolated. It makes other remote locations look like bustling city centers. Imagine this. The nearest inhabited land is St. Helena, which is a staggering 2,430 kilometers, or over 1,500 miles, away. To put that into perspective, that's roughly the distance from New York City to Dallas, Texas. The nearest continental landmass. That would be South Africa, a whopping 2,816 kilometers, or 1,750 miles, away. Getting there is an adventure in itself. There's no airport. The only way to reach Tristan da Cunha is by boat, specifically a fishing or supply vessel from Cape Town. A journey that takes about 6 to 7 days, depending on the weather. And these trips only happen a handful of times a year, so if you miss the boat, well, you're waiting a while. The island itself is a British overseas territory, and its full name is actually Tristan da Cunha, but the locals just call it Tristan. It's part of an archipelago that includes the uninhabited Nightingale Islands, Inaccessible Island, and Gough Island. Yes, you heard that right. Inaccessible Island. The names alone tell you everything you need to know about the region's remoteness. The main island, Tristan, is dominated by a massive volcano called Queen Mary's Peak, which rises over 2,000 meters above sea level. This volcano isn't just for show. It's active. In 1961, it erupted, forcing the entire population to evacuate to the UK. Most of them returned 2 years later. Can hear us where it gets even more interesting. Almost everyone on the island shares just a handful of surnames. We're talking about Glass, Green, Hagen, Lavarello, Repetto, Rogers, and Swain. These names trace back to the original settlers who arrived in the early 19th century. William Glass, a Scottish corporal, arrived, equipped with a garrison in 1816 to guard the island against any potential French attempts to rescue Napoleon from his exile on St. Helena. When the garrison was withdrawn a year later, Glass, his wife, and 2 children stayed behind, becoming the founders of the present-day community. Over the years, other settlers, including shipwrecked sailors from Italy and the United States, joined them, creating the unique genetic melting pot we see today. For example, there's a very high prevalence of asthma among the population. Mail comes and goes with the supply ships, so getting a package can take months. This reliance on ships means that planning is everything. If the grocery store runs out of something, say chocolate, you might have to wait 2 months for the next shipment. Imagine living in a place where everyone knows everyone, not just by name, but their entire family history. People don't lock their doors. The island has a police officer, but their job is mostly administrative. There's no jail, because there's never been a need for one. Hey, so, what do people do for fun? Well, there are community events like Ratting Day, where everyone gets together to help control the island's rat population, which threatens native birds. There are dances, film nights at the community hall, and a lot of time is spent visiting friends and family. Fishing, hiking up the volcano, and exploring the coastline are also popular pastimes. The island even has its own currency, the Tristan da Cunha pound, though the British pound is also accepted. Highly sought after by collectors around the world for their rarity and unique designs depicting local wildlife and history. The island's ecosystem is also incredibly unique. Goth and inaccessible islands are a UNESCO World Heritage Site, home to millions of seabirds, many of which are found nowhere else on Earth. Conservation is a huge priority for the community. They understand that their unique environment is fragile and needs protection. They've established a massive marine protection zone, one of the largest in the world, to safeguard the waters around their islands. But life on Tristan isn't a simple, pastoral paradise. It's tough. The weather can be harsh and unpredictable. The Atlantic storms are fierce. The island's economy is fragile, heavily dependent on the lobster fishery, which can fluctuate. Access to specialized medical care is extremely limited. For any serious medical issue, a person would have to be evacuated by ship to Cape Town, a journey that itself is a major undertaking. The small population also faces challenges in finding partners outside their own extended family. However, many who leave eventually feel the pull of home and return to the tight-knit community and the wild beauty of their island. So, Tristan da Cunha is more than just a dot on a map. It's a living laboratory of human society, genetics, and resilience. It's a place where the past is always present, where community isn't just a concept, but a necessity for survival. It's a testament to the human spirit, as ability to adapt and thrive in the most extreme of circumstances. Tiny, self-sufficient world that has managed to hold on to its unique culture and way of life against the overwhelming tide of globalization. A place that truly defines the word remote. And that, my friends, is the story of the most isolated community on the planet. It's a place that most of us will never visit. But just knowing it exists kind of changes your perspective on the world, doesn't it? It makes you think about what community really means and how different life could be. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive into the world's most remote inhabited island. I hope you found it as fascinating as I did. If you enjoyed this journey to the middle of nowhere, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into things that are, well, oddly specific. See you next time.